Hello, everyone. Resident Bronson here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us for another video. It's going to be an interesting video. If you are interested in travel content, planning travel, how to travel efficiently, and seeing where I'm traveling to, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a bell, and so the first thing you're going to want to do when you are considering taking a trip wherever, doesn't matter whether it's North America, Asia, um, Europe, US, wherever, you're going to want to pick a few spots, pick a few destinations. So I'd say pick 3 to 5 destinations that are calling your name across the globe. So, across the globe, so that's something that you want to start traveling internationally. That's something you should. However, you want to stick with, then maybe your country or a certain portion of your country. So, Western Canada or Eastern Canada or Western US or Hawaii or something like that. Pick a few destinations, 3 to 5 destinations to research, to explore. Then what you're going to want to do once you've selected those destinations, you're going to want to research the best times to visit along with the shoulder seasons. So we all know that tropical destinations like Hawaii are more popular in the winter time when the mainland is a lot colder. Canada is a lot colder. So Mexico, Cuba, down into Central and South America and Hawaii are a lot busier in the winter months. So, for example, November through to March, and then also school seasons, those destinations are a lot busier with cruising. So, think about everything's going to be more expensive, but if you go on the shoulder seasons, so maybe if you go in March or if you go in September, and the kids are back to school and it's not quite as busy. Things are going to be a lot less. The demand is going to be a lot lower, so the rates are going to be a lot lower. And you never know, you might snag some flight deals. The third thing for figuring out where you're going to be for your destination, I would say check your visa requirements. Doesn't matter where you're going. Some countries require it, some countries don't, based on your home country. My number one recommendation is check your own country's travel sites. If you don't see anything, go to the country that you're going to be visiting and check their travel sites to pull up that information. Don't worry, sometimes that's my computer going to sleep. But I'm going to try to keep it up as long as I can. So anyways, check your visa requirements, book those flights. There's no harm in booking Expedia or directly with the airline. Now, the caveat with that is if you are booking one airline for the whole trip, it's better off to book with that airline directly, so with Air Canada or WestJet or wherever. Sometimes with my travel schedule, I don't need to travel. I don't need to book directly with the airline because I'm sometimes using multiple airlines for each leg of the trip. So when I'm going to Vancouver, I'm going to fly down with WestJet, and then I come back with Air Canada. It'd be easier either to book one-way tickets or round trip using Expedia. I don't know. I'm going to have to do the research on that to see what is more expensive and what is more affordable in terms of tickets. Is it more affordable to book the flights separately? So the one direction flight to Vancouver with WestJet and the one direction flight to back home with Air Canada. I don't know about that, but those are some things you're going to want to look into prior to booking the flights. Once you figured out all that, one thing I would also recommend is picking your few destinations, monitoring your flights. So have some flight alerts set up for, maybe you go to Vancouver or Ontario or California. Set up those flight alerts. It'll alert you when the prices drop. And if there's one destination that's near the top of your list and the prices drop, go ahead, book that. That would be the one to book. And so you can secure that date and get that date secured in as soon as you can. I usually try to go 3 to 6 months out for domestic. International flights, even longer. So sometimes up to 9 to 12 months in advance, getting those flights booked and getting those reservations secured, so that way you have a little more time, a little more leeway to book in your accommodations there and everything. We're going to talk about accommodations a little later on in the video, but for now we're moving on to travel insurance. Travel insurance, it is something not a lot of people thought about. I honestly haven't thought about it. I saw this on a YouTube video. So this is honestly a personal decision, whether you want to get travel insurance or not. I recommend it because if you have a delayed flight, if you have lost luggage, if you get sick and you can't go on your trip, travel insurance will reimburse you for that, for what you paid in. Now, domestically, thankfully, we're in Canada, so we have our universal health care. However, if you do travel to the States or internationally, travel insurance will definitely help you with medical expenses. If you break a leg, something, or you get sick and you need to be hospitalized, or you need to be medevaced out or something like that, that's where travel insurance will kick in and will help you. So, but definitely, if you get travel insurance, read the fine print of your policy, making sure that it lines up directly from departure date to the time you return home. I've seen many stories where they've gotten a date mixed up and they weren't covered. So unfortunately, this happened. Talk to a travel insurance provider, a professional, somebody who does that for a living, even your travel agent. Some of the stuff I always talk to a travel agent. I have a few contacts myself. So, yeah. So once you've gotten your flights booked, you've gotten your travel insurance in place, and you got everything done, the fun part is planning your itineraries. This is one thing I do enjoy. I use a couple different planning softwares, whether it's Google My Maps, Wonderlog, or even TripAdvisor to plan this. I'm going to jump over to the computer and we are going to go over that momentarily. And that way you can see kind of how I do things on that end. Alright, now we're going to look at planning your itinerary. There are 3 different websites, applications I use for planning my itinerary. The number one is Wonderlog, Google My Maps, and Microsoft Office, the Excel spreadsheet. We're going to get into each one of them briefly here in this portion of the video. I'm not going to spend a whole time of it because this video is probably quite long as it is. So the first one is going to be the Wonderlog, and this one here is the site I'm looking at. So I've already gone ahead and planned out my itinerary. As you can see, it also has you can plan it out for the different days, so you can see there's that next day there, and as you can scroll through along the sides, you can see kind of the key activities that I'm planning. So for example, this Wednesday the 12th is the Whistler and Squamish
day trip exploration. So going out to all planning all that stuff, and you've got the church one. You've got a couple museums and different aspects. Stanley Park, the Sylvia Hotel, and that's just creating that to ensure that we have a consistent um, schedule. Now, all of this will also be transferred over to Google My Maps, which I'm slowly starting to build out. And I would build it out based on the actual days of events. So the Wednesday through to following Wednesday travel days. I don't really plan out on Google My Maps because it's not really worth planning out all that travel concepts and putting it into the system. So I'm slowly starting to build that out. I haven't really started it. I'm starting it now. This is what it looks like. This is the interface. So I can take this hotel here and we're going to just search it. We are going to type it and we are going to select add to map. Here you can adjust the colors. So I like to have it color coded by the day. So we'll go like that. That's a hotel. And we can just select this and name it August 12th. And this one, you can put everything that you're doing. So Sea to Sky Highway and all this stuff. Basically, essentially, every stop on this list will also go onto this one here. The final one I use is Microsoft Office. Once I can get it. Alright. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so now we got the Microsoft Office. This is our planning spreadsheet. So this first page is a summary, flight details, lodging. You got all the different information here. So this I haven't really built out yet. It is all my travel plans. So you can scroll over here. You can see what I'm doing each day or where I'm going. So all is in Vancouver. Everything will be, once everything is planned out, it'll all be in here. This will all have the accommodation information. And you go to flight details, so all your transportation and everything is in here, along with hotels and accommodations also go in there. I don't drive, so I'm not really doing the car rental stuff. I can probably delete this entire sheet, so that way it's just these three. And that is my Microsoft Excel to plan all the aspects of this trip, and everything is going to be universal across the board.
I always look at staying with family, hotels, Airbnb, / VRBO, private rentals, which oftentimes are Airbnb, VRBO sometimes. Some cities do have their own companies. I know larger cities, probably like LA and destination cities, have their own network of private rentals. Airbnb is a great site, for homes, rooms, condos. Same with VRBO, is very similar to that. And hotels, of course, is your standard Marriott, your Best Western, Wyndham, and all this and everything. I'm going to do also we're going to jump over to the computer, talk about that too as well, in terms of how I plan and book everything. I try to book things direct, but sometimes I can get a better deal by booking through a third party. I really haven't had any issues with booking third parties, so most of my travels are planned through something like Expedia or Hotels.com or one of those travel sites, those online travel agents, and I really haven't had any issues flying or traveling with them in all my years of traveling.
All right, now we are going to do some continuing on with our video again. We are going to now look at accommodations. So, we're going to first start with Airbnb, which is something I have always used for researching. So we're going to type in my city again, Vancouver. We're going to type in those same dates that I had. I'll hit that for now. And those are the dates in July. July 14th, checking out on the 23rd. And we're going to hit 1. And these are all the cities. Now, these are within Vancouver proper. I usually try to zoom in into the Tri-Cities area because this is kind of more where I stay. Now, there's been a couple that I had looked at that aren't available for these dates, obviously. So these are some, there's anything from, you got a room. Most of them are rooms. Sometimes you get full suites. So this looks like a full suite there. Yeah, so you've got a few different options here. Honestly, I would look through and just check your area, check what you like, whether you want to be in a room or you want to have your own private suite and for your access for your trip. Another thing, I'm going to head over to Expedia as well. And the other thing we are going to also type in is, we're going to select Vancouver, and it is also going to pull up our dates that we've entered in before, and these are going to be some hotel options. Now, of course, we are not going to be directly in there. We're going to type in Coquitlam, and this will give more approximation of the hotel options in our region. So these are just a few different options that they have. The last one I'm going to do is Vancouver, BC. Private vacation rentals in Vancouver, BC. So these are different websites you could literally use. You can Airbnb, Expedia is in there. You have some other ones, Craigslist, Kayak, Cozy, some different ones. I would do your research, go into these websites, see what you can find for those options. And then you've also got a couple of vacation rental companies in here. So you got this one here, that is that there, and you also have this one as well. So those are a couple options that you have to find accommodations for your trip.
Talking transportation. Now, this is a topic that is widely used. Let's say, are you going to get a train, an Uber, a taxi, a bus from the airport? This is also considers when you are at home. How are you going to get to the airport in your hometown? When is it locally here, or are you in somewhere where I live where the airport is 45 minutes away? Are you needing to take a bus, or do you need to get a family or friend? Thankfully, I plan to have that bus there just in case, and I'm able to use utilize family or friend if they offer. However, if I do need to do that, I need to make those changes with my hotel reservations and all that. Cancel that because my friend will be taking me up the next day. In terms of when you arrive in the city, utilize your arrival airport. I do have a short video from I did a previous recording with that, so I'm going to throw that into here as well to kind of showcase how to find it on the couple. I used a couple airports. I used Vancouver International and I used Palm Springs International, where to find local transportation options within those airports. Also, if you're driving, check your local regulations and their local regulations where you're going, whether you can use your driver's license or not. I don't drive, so I rely on public transportation. So all my stuff is done through SkyTrain, through bus, through Metro. I'm a big fan of public transportation. I advocate for public transportation, not only mostly my local small town, but within our region. And people reach out to me if they have issues with their transit, and this is my insight on it. This is what I think your community should be doing. So that's that factor. All right, jumping back onto the computer here, we are going to do. We are going to. All right. Just said okay for that message. We're gonna go look up some of the airport websites. So we're gonna go YVR Airport. So that's Vancouver International Airport in Vancouver, British Columbia. So this is their website. The one thing you're going to want to look up here is that's not live there. Just something went off on my phone. So you're gonna look up transportation. So as you can see on their website alone, on this drop down menu, there are a wide range of I don't know what happened there. There's a wide range of options. So everything from car share, ride share, car rentals, taxis, courtesy shuttles, group arrivals, airport sales, public transportation, long distance buses, bikes and cycling. So I always go to public transportation. This is going to give you the information you need to go to for that community. So for Vancouver, so it tells you exactly how to get to the Canada line from the airport. So for example, arrivals level 2 domestic terminal, and then you walk over to the international terminal. Exactly all this information, it follows the signs and everything. It also does tell you everything, all the information you need to know about that. Now you can also go to, so if you're getting, you can also select this button and this will go to a separate website. You'll go to schedules and maps, and this will most likely take you to the transit authority. So for example, TransLink in Vancouver, that manages everything for transit within the city of Vancouver. That is Vancouver. So we're going to go to some other airports that I usually fly into. Another one, we're going to go back to Google. We're going to go to Palm Springs International Airport. This is one I've always enjoyed flying into. And this is, again, going to be talking about public transportation. So you can select public transportation. It is going to give you all the information you need to get to or from Palm Springs International Airport. Again, with Vancouver, it's the same thing. You've got all these different options. So you got a bus system. You've got some different long distance bus systems as well. Car shares down here, ride share, and some taxi companies.
So that's just a way to look through your airport. Another thing I would suggest as well, while you are at that airport's website, find an option that says terminal map. This will help you a lot. You can select full screen and then you can kind of see where you need to go. I'm gonna hit that back there for, and we're gonna go the same thing on YVR. And we are gonna go to, I believe it is navigate right there. You can select this one and it'll open up, and that'll have you the entire terminal map in Vancouver. Now again, every airport is going to have it differently. This is Vancouver. This is the airport I've lied to all the time. So those are just a couple options to, again, finding the public transportation information and then finding a terminal map, which will help you with your travels.
The last two, packing list and Wi-Fi, are kind of gears trip by trip. You know, if I'm going for 10 days in Vancouver, you know, and I'm somewhere where I can wash my laundry, I'll pack enough stuff for, you know, maybe 5 or 6 days. That way I can wash my clothes wherever I'm staying. So if I'm in a Airbnb with a in-suite laundry and dryer, or I'm staying with my aunt who has a laundry room that I'm able to use, so I'll take advantage of that. So, you know, last time I went there, I did a load of laundry before I even left. So all my clothes in my suitcase were already clean when I came home. So I didn't have to do a load of laundry when I got back home, which was really nice. It's very beneficial. So I was, the other thing is, if you do have access to a laundry machine, laundry services within where your accommodation is, even if it's a hotel, you know, a lot of them will have, you know, it's coin laundry, remember, just a couple of bucks or whatever to wash and dry your clothes. Take advantage of that. That way you can pack it all up, get it all ready, so when you get home you don't have to worry about doing a load of laundry, which is very beneficial, not only as a traveler standpoint, but, you know, the guys working in security don't have to smell your smelly shoes from your hike 3 days ago where you got pissed down by rain. But I'm just saying, you know, that's something that is out there. So that's one thing. And create a packing list is another thing I would recommend. You know, have a packing list created so that way you can have that list ready to go for when you travel, and bring that with you, so when you're packing up to come back home, you can make sure you got everything, you don't forget anything, and your host doesn't have to send you anything, or you have to pay to have something sent. And in terms of Wi-Fi, this is more so if you're going internationally. Check with your cell phone provider if they offer any roaming packages, or consider eSIM. I've heard lots about this, and this phone actually has an eSIM. I don't have a physical SIM card in there. So I'm able to download one of those eSIM apps, and if I'm traveling out of the country, I can get an eSIM, get a local plan there, and don't even have to worry about connecting to Wi-Fi in that new country. You know, just turn on airplane mode and all that. And I've used roaming before. I've used it when I was in California back in 2013. Really handy. You know, I just had a text-only plan, so I was able to text my my family. I did have to make one phone. I did receive one phone call, and that was because it was an emergency with one of my good friends. I'm not going to get into that whole situation there, but that was the only time I received a phone call while I was out internationally across the border. So, but other than that, you know, if I'm traveling, I usually have an eSIM, which will give you text, probably a certain amount of calling, a certain amount of data. I don't know the exact details. It's something that, you know, depending on what country you're visiting, I would look into. And if I was going to somewhere like the States, I would look into something like that. Well, thanks for watching. If this is going to be your first solo travel, it is a eye-opening journey. It can be nerve-wracking depending on where you're going, but at the end of the day, it's honestly something the best thing I've ever done. And I love traveling. I love traveling solo, planning it, doing all the aspects, getting everything ready. And I hope you get to experience that. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments or send us an email. The email address is in the on my website, or it is built within the my YouTube channel. If you go to the business inquiries, you can fire me off an email there, and I'll do my best to answer any questions. If not, I'll connect you with an industry professional who can do that too within your area. So just be mindful that any professionals I do send, I'm not affiliated with them. I do my best to research, and so any of the professionals that I do may have feature on my YouTube channel are going to be local professionals to our area. So the BC Northeast is kind of where I am located. So that is just so you guys know. So as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day. God bless, and we'll see you in the next video.